there is a need here to want to deepen the conversation or the communication with another person. I feel like there are institutional formality. There is also like even possibly a family rift, and it's kind of awkward. It's getting in the way of true, meaningful communication. I feel like for some of you, it's like you're dealing with coworkers, supervisors, managers, or people that are really high up the chain, or you're dealing with your subordinate, and you really want to tell them how you feel. Like, you're a great person, I want to hang out with you outside of work, or you're a really bad worker, and here are some of the things that you should do, what you should do to improve your performance ratings. But either way, it could be, on the positive end where you really like them, or it could be on the negative end where you're trying to help them. But there are rules and regulations in place that's really hindering your ability to be truly candid with them when it comes to communication. So you're kind of struggling with, trying to straddle the fine line between professionalism and just giving somebody a piece of your mind, just telling it as it is. And so that's, it's rare for me to see this with you guys, but I feel like some of you might have a lot of air in you. Some of you might have a lot of fire in you, or even, earth. And you want to improve the process. You want to have an end result the way that you want. And so it's really, you're not one to, want to skirt the issue. You're not one to beat around the bush. And you're not one to, just like talk in circular pattern and waste your time and not see any tangible result that comes out of it. So I feel like that's the source of frustration here. It deals heavily with communication, and it deals with like, why do we need to have so many discussions over the same thing? Why can't we just execute? Why can't we just, make a decision and finalize things? Why do we need to beat around the bush? And I feel like this is something coming in work setting, where it's like multiple people have to okay something, multiple rounds of talks and agreements needs to happen, multiple rounds of negotiations need to happen, and then there are too many players, so it's really hard to get all the players in one room so that everyone can be there together and give their inputs. So it's a source of frustration for you. And I feel like for some of you, it might play out in the financial sector too, deciding who gets the job, deciding what positions are actually opening up. And is that position still available, or is it deemed redundant? So I feel like there might be people leaving the work environment, and the organization desperately needs somebody to fill in that empty position. But then there's this whole bureaucratic process about, well, the person has to leave, and we all need to like go up the chain of command. We need to approve it. We need to wait to see if there's budget for even keeping that position open. We need to know if, we need to know if that position is even going to be viable into the future. So there's work to be done. Work is piling on, and that position needs to be filled. But it just seems to me like it's going up the chain of command. No one is really sure if it's being filled. So it's frustrating. And especially for those of you who are thinking about, you're eyeing the position and you want to go for it. You want to put in your interest, your letter of interest. You want to, apply for it. And it's just the waiting game. And then there are also situations as well where it deals heavily with seniority. It deals heavily with who's got the education, who's got the work experience. So it's not so much about who's the best candidate. It's more about who looks good on paper, who's got credibility, and then who's got seniority, who's been here the longest. We need to give that person the position. And it's like, All of these things are highly bureaucratic. They're incredibly inefficient, and it doesn't take into account the innate skills that somebody has and somebody can bring to the table, regardless of whether or not they have the education, regardless of whether or not they have the work experience. It just seems like you feel you might be a good fit, or you feel like somebody else might be a good fit, even though they don't fit the traditional standard mold. So I'm sensing here that it's like creating a little bit of an unsettled energy in your work environment because things are not certain, okay? Towards the end, well, I want to say like towards the end of May, I feel this energy is going to settle for you, and there will be a lot of certainty and clarity coming into the picture. So I would urge you to be very, very patient, okay? Whatever you're not sure about, whatever uncertainty, whatever things that you're getting, some psychic hits on, but you're not 100% sure, you will have the answers that you need, okay? So it's just a matter of sitting still, listen to things that filter in through the grapevines. Don't give it too much credence. Like, don't just, take it as gospel. Don't believe everything that you're hearing. Towards the end of the month, you're going to realize all of it was, he said, she said. All of it was just uncertain gossip and communication that were not based on reality, okay? People talk just because they want to be heard. And whatever is coming through, the first 3 weeks of the month, I feel like it's going to be refuted. The information will be refuted, and you're going to get some major breakthrough and clarity come the 4th week of the month. The 4th week of May. In the meantime, I feel like the career front, the work front, is a little bit frustrating. And I'm also sensing, this is a really good month for you overall to kind of draw back your energy away from work and focus a little bit more on your personal relationships, nurturing your personal relationships. So I feel for many of you, this is an earth sign, Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. I feel Capricorn and Virgo. If you are dealing with a Capricorn or a Virgo, this is a person, he or she, okay, because the cards are not gender specific. This is somebody that might be like a little bit domineering, a little bit controlling. I'm seeing as well money pinching, like penny pinching. Like there are some things that they're holding back on. And this is somebody that is very, 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 very stubborn. So I feel like there's a little bit of conflict coming through, and you're trying to figure out how to appeal to this person, how to appease this person, or how to persuade this person to come over to your side. So I feel like when they're showing up in the reverse position, they're a little bit more wrapped up in their own problems and their own lives, and they're not really listening to what you have to say, okay? And then on top of that, it's somebody who is a little bit more on the self-serving end. They do things because they want a specific outcome, not so much because they care about the greater good. They could, but for this month, they're just a little bit more me. They're just a little bit more self-obsessed, and they're a little bit more self-absorbed. So whatever you're telling them, you need to, in order for you to appeal to them, you need to appeal to their self-interest, okay? So rather than just saying, hey, can you help me buy this? You can say like, hey, can you help me buy this so that I can help you do this? Or you can, barter, do an exchange. If you do this for me, I'll do this other thing for you. So if you have somebody like this, even in your work environment, an earth sign, who's like a little bit more self-interested and they keep dumping things on you, you have to tell them, well, I've done all of these things for you. Now it's time for you to do it for me. Or I'll help you do this if you help me with that. And I feel like it needs to be an equal exchange of energy, because with the Temperance card on top of it, it deals heavily with balance, moderation, and the give and take in a relationship. And I feel for many of you, it's a family member or a work colleague or supervisor, or, you know, somebody that is in your work environment. And there needs to be a fair exchange of energy. I'm also sensing for some of you, if this is this person might be dealing with some ailments. They're dealing with some worries when it comes to their health, and they're dealing with, it could also be a Taurus, so Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, but I'm seeing strong, very, very strong Capricorn and Virgo here. The Taurus person seems to be a little bit more stable. The Taurian person seems to be a lot more stable. But that person can also be dealing with some sadness or some physical ailments, physical symptoms, and they're not operating at their best, okay? And then likewise, you could be dealing here with a Sagittarius who is going through a lot of emotional and financial instability, a lot of it. They have many, many, many times tried to get their life together. Excuse me. They have tried time and time again to get their financial situation on track. They've tried time and time again to get their lives together, but it just feels like they always have somebody else to run back to, and they always have somebody else to kind of like take care of problems for them. And so it's a very enabling type of behavior, and they don't learn. If you're dealing with this person on the romantic front, you need to be very, very careful that you don't constantly feed into it. It's like, you know, this vicious cycle. You bring your love and your affection and your assistance, and it goes towards a person that is not appreciative of it, or they're so wrapped up in financial worries and survival mode that they take and take and take and take. And then they take and they don't really build anything from it. Okay? So you really got to re-examine your relationships here. You definitely need to really figure out, you know, is it worth it? Am I doing the right thing? Am I enabling this type of behavior? And are there other avenues or other people that I can really, you know, give my time, my love, my affection, my resources to? So we got to balance out here. Libra, this is all about you being very, very, very nice. Okay. You're like one of the sweetest signs. And even if you're upset with somebody, you try your best to be very diplomatic. You try your best to be fair. So it's hard for you to be harsh with somebody, and it's hard for you to kind of like, you know, cut somebody down or, you know, give them a piece of your mind, because you always want to bring your best foot forward. And I feel like all of this, it's nice and noble and great and just, you know, very admirable, but it's being given to a person that is very emotionally unstable, financially unstable, and they are a little bit of a taker, and they come to expect it over time. So it creates this vicious cycle where things are not balanced out. Okay, so I want you to just be careful about that. On the flip side of this, there is some major new breakthroughs happening for you. And let me talk about this. Let me clear this out temporarily, and then let me talk about this. So we have here two aces, water and air. So we have here the Ace of Cups. This is a brand new love offer, and this is something that has a lot of potential to be really nurturing and very, really good for you, okay? The way that I'm seeing this, and this is the first card out of the spread, right? It basically denotes to me overcoming a very, very toxic relationship, moving away from toxicity, moving away from bad people, moving away from people that once again, did not deserve your effort, your affection. So they just, I feel like falling on deaf ears. You know, whatever you try to do, whatever you try to say, whatever you try to help them with, it seems like they weren't ready, okay? Emotionally, they were very, very unstable. They weren't ready. And so you've had to move away from it. With the devil in the reverse, let some things go. Let the energy go. And as a result of letting go, there is something new burgeoning and coming together for you. We have here the Ace of Cups, and this is like a very strong soul connection with somebody where I feel like there is great communication. There's a lot more truth and honesty. You can talk about things. They don't deem any subject, to be taboo. They don't hold back. And you can like honestly have deep, meaningful communication with them. So if at the beginning of the month, you're just like, the communication or the conversations are so shallow, towards the end of the month, and I would say from now or in like the mid-month, 15th to the 30th, there's going to be a deepening of communication, some major breakthroughs happening for you in terms of love. And so right now, it's saying, love is coming around the corner. Love is there. It's on the offing for you. But it seems like you've got some things that you need to clear up from your end. You've got some relationships that you need to let go. You've got to get over some things in your immediate environment. People, even jobs that are not serving you well. Even old ways of relating to people. Especially, you want to be careful about having to fix everybody's problems. And then when it comes to you needing help, no one's there because, they're self-interested. Or being so diplomatic that you're not communicating your truth and people have no idea what you're saying. It's like confusion when it comes to communicating when we're trying to be so politically correct or we're trying to be so diplomatic and to spare the other person's feelings that we have trouble delivering a message in a meaningful way. And then on top of that, when it comes to love relationships, this indicates to me it's here. But with the Judgment card in the reverse, is your family okay with it? Are you okay with it? Are there things that you need to wrap up from your end before you can give this the attention that it deserves? I feel like some of you, you might have a water sign here. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, that's coming into the picture. If not, they embody the energy of someone who's very young and innocent. Someone who's like, who's very unguarded when they're around you. And when they're unguarded and innocent and just, they want to help you when you're distressed. They're offering it's like somebody that admires you. So I see it as an admirer. But I feel like because they really admire you and they catch you at your worst, when you're like stressed out, when you're high strung, when you're dealing with things in your own personal life, things with your family, things with your work environment, they're bringing their best foot forward, okay? And I feel like it's not going to be until the end of the month where you realize this. You realize that, they have feelings for me, or, they're like the one person I could rely on even when everything around me was going awry. So the important thing is the communication will deepen. And you will appreciate and you will know where you stand with people. And you will know who's actually there for you and who says they're there for you, but they're only self-interested. So I feel like there are major things here that needs to be re-examined and having a little bit more depth when it comes to your analysis about people and their motives and trusting that you need to trust people's concrete actions. It's not what they say. It's actually what they're doing for you. Okay, so learn to trust that. Learn to trust these visible, physical actions rather than what is being said, what is, being promised, but just never delivered. Okay, just never ever delivered. So that's what I have for you here. Let me see if there's anything else. I believe there was another one. I feel like some people leaving the nest, okay, like going off to school, planning school, working, doing some type of a educational coursework where you're going to run into a lot more people. So this is the card about institution is family, but also education, like higher education. A community college, a university, a master's program, a PhD program, some type of a teaching assistantship if you're in school for higher education. What this denotes to me is this is where you belong, Libra. This is greatly all about where you will find your people. This is where you're going to thrive. This is an environment that will be mentally stimulating for you. Okay, so I feel like the past is done and over with, and this is what you're looking forward to, the next phase in your life. Okay, so decide where you want to go and what you need to do and what course of study you want to take, and don't let another person. It's kind of like tune out this person. This is your advice here. Tune out this person, whoever this person is. If he or she is very self-serving, if he or she is just can't get over themselves, if they're looking at you like you're the project that they need to shape and mold, this is probably someone who's operating from a space of ego rather than, true love and tenderness and, out of the goodness of their heart, they want you to do well. This is a person that loves conditionally. They put restrictions or they put conditions on you. You need to get an A for me to love you. You need to be rich for me to love you. Those types of people. They put conditions and limitations on how they feel about you. And you feel like you failed a little bit when you don't live up to their expectations. So there are some toxic energies in your life. And I feel like you might be kind of under their fingers or wrapped around their fingers. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy when people give you conditions that you have to abide by in order to buy or maintain their love, okay? So what I feel is it's family members, and you need to be really careful. If it's a relationship partner, you are being manipulated, and you're going to need to see your way out, and you're going to need to at least admit that to yourself, that person is manipulating me, or they're guilt tripping me, or they're using underhanded tactics to get me to do what I want, and that's not right. So it's a big realization, and it's time to, snap out of it, and it's time for you to call it what it is and to stop wasting time. This is a very circular pattern where you give of yourself, and it just doesn't really pan out. And then I also feel as well for many of you, it's a good month for you to really assess, who is there for you, who's been good to you, and are you reciprocating their goodness and their kindness, or are you kind of taking it for granted, thinking it's going to be, forthcoming all the time, like it's an endless well of goodwill, good tidings, and good emotions that they're giving you, and that it will never run out. Re-examine this well of endless good energies, and are you doing it justice? Are you doing the other person justice? Okay.